listener production.
Welcome to Rusty's Garage. I am your host, Greg Rust, a leader in the automotive industry, broadcasting guru. In fact, I'm not Greg Rust. My name is Mark Howard. I've had the pleasure of working alongside Rusty for many a year at Channel 10, and while the rest of us are here working hard, Rusty is floating around Europe with his beautiful family, his wonderful daughters and wife, having a well-deserved break. He will be somewhere watching replays of last night's Formula One race that he will have watched live. As we're recording this, it is the morning after the Hungary victory for Oscar Piastri, young Melbourne man that has become the fifth Australian to win a Formula One Grand Prix alongside the names Webber, Jones, incredible names, Ricciardo, Brabham, and now the man from Melbourne, Oscar Piastri. Amazing race, amazing friction on the radio between Lando Norris, his teammate in the McLaren, and the team, with everything that was going on with team orders and tyre choices, but it can't be taken away from the young man from Melbourne who grew up racing karts under the Westgate Bridge here, and he joined Rusty on this amazing podcast a while ago, and they had a fantastic chat. So we thought we needed to bring Oscar Piastri back into your world of realm now that he is a Formula One winner. Here is the guru, Greg Rust, with Australia's newest Formula One race winner, Oscar Piastri.
It's nice to catch up with you actually face-to-face this time. I think the last time we spoke was in Canada. Turnaround by McLaren this season has given lots of people, lots of fans, something to be excited about. On paper, do you reckon the car will suit the layout? And there's obviously changes that we take into account, particularly in the final sector this year.
I hope so. I think it could be a better weekend for us. We'll see how we go. I'm sure we'll be somewhere in the pack with Ferrari, Mercedes, Aston, somewhere around there. I think Red Bull will still be a step ahead of the rest, but hopefully we can be more towards the front of that pack this weekend.
Cool. When you look at the year so far, how happy are you, and perhaps the the sense of progression that you've enjoyed?
Yeah, I feel like it's been a good season. I think I've learned a lot, which has been the main aim. I think obviously once we put the upgrades on the car in Austria and Silverstone, I was still trying to learn, but obviously there was a bit more of a carrot as well. So no, it's been good. I think especially since we've put those upgrades on the car, I feel like I've been able to rise to the challenge of fighting at the front. And the last few weekends in particular, I've been very happy with the pace I've showed. They've maybe not been the most straightforward of weekends, but I feel like I'm getting more and more comfortable each time I drive the car, which at the end of the day is still the most important thing.
Cool. Great endorsement by Zach Brown in a recent column on the McLaren side of your talent, your determination. I think he talked about you being sort of ballsy and patient and studious. I love that stuff. I'm interested to know kind of where that comes from. Have you always had that? Is that a learned thing, that sort of inner drive?
I think the ballsy comment, I don't know. I think it's more just from, I seem to be quite good in the high-speed corners, which has been, I'd say, a relative strength through my career in cars. I guess that's where that comes from. But I think the calmness and studious side of things comes even from when I was at school. I was always trying to do the best that I could. And that's where, I guess, in some ways, the competitive side of me came from as well. I always tried to get the best results at school, best results in sport. I just wanted to try and be the best. So I think that's carried through now into my career. And the calmness, I think in motorsport you have a lot of moments where it tests your calmness. You very quickly build up a lot of experience with that side of things. And I think for me, keeping your emotions in check and being able to think clearly is a very important aspect that, you need to be able to drive a car quickly, but it's very rare that you drive in perfect conditions where nothing's going wrong or everything's going right. So, being able to cope in lots of different circumstances and not get too emotional is a very important thing.
Cool. That kind of leads me to the next one, and I know you'll probably tell me that it's no big deal, but Mark Webber reminded me in a chat for this that basically, you finished your schooling while living away from the comforts of home and family, while braining them in F3 and F2. How much of that do you reckon helped shape the Oscar Piastri we see today?
Yeah, I think staying in school was one of the better decisions we made. For me growing up, I think firstly it's certainly no guarantee you'll have a career in motorsport. So I think it's always an important thing. But also, I did a lot of engineering-based subjects, so I have maybe a bit more understanding of that side of things now. But also, just applying your work and working hard and stuff like that. It's all very important and transferable. I guess a lot of people see us driving the cars as quickly as we can, but there's a hell of a lot more that goes on behind the scenes, and knowing how to improve and how to go quicker and where to look, that's a critical part of it. So no, I think that's been an important thing. I think also still continuing school in the UK when I moved over was important as well, just for a community aspect, and helped me to settle into living away from home. So no, I think at the time, of course, going to school as a 14, 15-year-old is never the most fun, probably, but in hindsight, it was a very, very good move.
A quick break here. Oscar has been good enough to stick around for a little bit longer on this edition of Rusty's Garage, and that is coming your way in just a few moments. You're listening to the Motorsport Brief, a shortcast offering here on Rusty's Garage. And for this special bonus edition, we have caught up with Oscar Piastri ahead of round 15 of the Formula One season, the Singapore Grand Prix. Back to the convo now.
Personal high for you. I love some of the stuff we saw with you spending time with the Aussie cricket team around the Ashes and so on. Have you kept in contact with some of them? And what were the kind of takeaways out of that for you? I mean, clearly you enjoyed being in their company and you have a passion for that.
Yeah, I've always liked cricket growing up. Before I went racing, I played cricket every now and again. Well, not every now and again, in summer. And it was kind of the last sport I had to give up, really, because it worked well with the off season for racing. So I've always enjoyed that side of things. I always watch the cricket when I go home for Christmas. So yeah, to be able to meet those guys, some of them I've grown up watching as a little kid, was very, very special. And I think I'm now in a very privileged position where I can try and take notes from other sports, not just the cricketers, but from everywhere, and seeing elite sports people doing their job is always a new perspective and a new way of doing things. So no, it was very, very cool. Nice to meet some childhood heroes as well, but yeah, also there's a bit of learning there as well.
This year has been crazy for you, I would imagine, with media and interest from home and so on. What's that side of it been like for you, and even some of the social media things that we've seen you doing and so on? Have you enjoyed that aspect of it?
Yeah, it's definitely a different aspect of it, of course. I'm sure we all love to go driving. That's what we're here to do. But it's a different side of things, and I think for me, getting used to, especially when we started getting some better results, fighting for podiums. So yeah, it's definitely a learning experience. It's sort of one of those things you can't really prepare for or study for. So yeah, it's been exciting to get used to. It's been nice in some ways, but yeah, definitely a learning curve.
Cool. Couple to finish here. The interaction with the Aussie team on the Ashes side of things, did that create some interesting banter here with the Poms in the team and yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Being one of the only Aussies, my physio is also an Aussie, and we're pretty much the only two in the team, which is English. It was very happy when we were 2-0 up, and then slowly got a little bit less happy. The other boys got a bit more chirpy. So yeah, it was a fun time. We were all watching it in between the sessions and stuff like that. We had it on the TVs and the hospitality. So no, it was very, very cool to watch that, and yeah, nice bit of banter exchange as well.
Cool. Finally, a few rounds to go, obviously, in this season. What's the kind of one box that you perhaps really want to tick in this first year that you may not have done yet?
Good question. I mean, of course, a podium. I try not to focus on it. We've been close multiple times. So yeah, I mean, if the opportunity presents itself, then of course that. But even if I don't get that, I've been, happy with what I've been able to do. I feel like we've maximized a lot of our opportunities, especially our opportunities for the podium. I feel like we've been able to do nothing more. So from that side of things, I don't think there's too many boxes left to tick. Of course, I want to keep learning, but apart from getting results involved, I even got a fastest lap last time out, so that box, I guess, is ticked. I've led a lap now, so yeah, I guess that's probably the last one, but I'm not really putting any pressure to make it happen.
Good on you. We love the calmness. We love what you've done already. Really enthused about what's happened so far and excited for what's to come. Little window of opportunity for us to catch up with you here, and we're very grateful. Thank you very much.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
I tell you, he's the man. He's the man, Greg Rust, and well done to Oscar Piastri. A fantastic chat that. He's got all sorts of wonderful automotive guests. Has Rusty on Rusty's Garage. It's my number one podcast. I run a little podcast called The Howie Games, if you're not aware. All sorts of Formula One people have been on it. Daniel Ricciardo has appeared on the show. Martin Brundle, fantastic chat with that man on the show. Mark Webber, Alan Jones, Formula One stars that have all been on the show. So if you love your Formula One, maybe go back and check out the Howie Games. But this is all about Rusty. Well done to Oscar, and continue whatever you do to subscribing to Rusty's amazing podcast, which it's been a privilege for me to have a chat. So have a great day, and remember, Rusty's Garage for all your motorsport needs.